You're listening to the Topcast, the original podcast for growth-minded instrumental music and voice teachers since 2015, with your host, Tim Topham. Our mission at TopMusic is to empower instrumental music and voice teachers to find and nurture their innate creativity so that they can teach lessons that are innovative, integrated, and inspiring, and that will have a positive, lifelong impact on their students. Join us each week as we interview teachers and creators from around the world and unpack fun and exciting ideas to maximize your teaching and studio business success. Hey teachers, it's Tim here. Welcome back to the Topcast, and I hope you've been enjoying the start of the year. We've been doing things a little bit differently, as you've probably heard, with Tara Wright taking the hosting reins. I hope you've been enjoying her planning course that she's been sharing, and we are just interrupting that with last week's episode and today's episode, and then we'll go back to the rest of that coming up next week. But look, I'm super excited. I had to chuck this episode into the mix because Tara and I are so excited about our new podcast. So for those of you who don't know, we've launched a new podcast. It's called the TopMusic AI Podcast, and also a new weekly newsletter all about AI. And today I want to talk to Tara about that and give you the details of how it all works, why we've done this, and also just give you some basics about AI. Because I know lots of you have questions about some of the simpler things, like, is there one AI? Are there lots of ones? Which one should I use? Where do I go to use it? What's a prompt? What do I do? So we're going to give you a number of those just basic things to get you started, and then also explain what we've created and why we've created the TopMusic AI podcast, and also with TopMusic AI weekly newsletter. I'm so excited that we've got both of these off the ground in January, and the feedback we've been getting already has been super positive, and we've been already adjusting things as we've been getting that feedback too. So I really hope you enjoy this and you learn lots from it. And also at the end of the interview with Tara, which I'm going to throw over to in just a moment, we are also going to talk briefly about some of the courses that are coming up this year, including an incredible one all about ChatGPT, one of the AI tools that we strongly recommend all music teachers use if you want to save a bit of time, save a bit of money in your studio, and get help without having to pay another team member. Then ChatGPT is a great way to do it, and you're going to find out all about it, both in today's show, but also in that course, which I'll talk about after today's interview. Welcome back to the show, Tara Wright. Great to see you.
Great to see you, Tim. Thanks for having me.
So can you tell us just a little bit about what you do at TopMusic before we dive into today's show?
Well, I'm coming up on 4 years, and right now I mostly do operations and marketing.
And you do it brilliantly. And for all those teachers in our membership and also just on our email list, it's often Tara's who's behind some of the cool ideas, like the thing we're going to be talking about today, that come up on our calendar. So thank you so much for all that you do for our teachers at TopMusic. And I thought teachers might also like a little sneak peek into your own teaching, because you do a fair few different things. And I know we introduced you and your ostrich farm, etc. on the last episode we had you on. But what about just on the teaching side of things?
Teaching side of things, I've been running a multi-teacher, multi-instrument studio for the last 10 years. I've also been the operations director of a music store here in town. And I teach private and group classes for piano and guitar and woodwinds and mallet percussion.
And you're doing some study on the side as well, right?
I am. I went back to school. I decided if I'm going to do marketing, why not also get a degree in it? Because I can.
You are amazing. And you're doing this incredible fast track thing that I didn't even know was possible. So, well, good luck as you proceed through it. I think it's amazing that you've decided to go and do that. So you came to me super excited around November last year with a really cool idea, because you are so passionate about AI, and you had this idea, I reckon we could do this podcast thing about AI. And we actually launched the new show just this year in January. If you haven't tuned in, make sure you go and check it out. The TopMusic AI podcast. You can listen to it on Spotify or wherever you're listening to this show, just search for it. But as the host, tell us about it.
Okay, so I really wanted to create a space where we could really explore AI's role in music education in a way that's innovative and both relatable too. So each episode starts with an AI segment where my AI voice, it's not me all the time. There is a segment and it's actually an AI voice of me. And it has a conversation with another AI. And some weeks they tackle AI related topics like what is ChatGPT? And other weeks they dive into specific teaching concepts. So coming up next month, we're talking about improv and composing. After the AI segment, then they kick it back over to the real life version of me. And I talk about the real talk portion. So I come in with my thoughts and give you practical insights and advice from real life.
I can't wait for teachers. If you haven't gone and listened to this, you have to go and listen. It is amazing. This literally blew my mind when you told me that this was even possible, because we aren't typing in a script as such, are we?
We are not. AI is coming up with a script. Now, I do a lot of work on the back end and I've trained my AIs because I've been doing it for so long. So it's the prompts that I put into it and it gives me these scripts back. And then all of a sudden, my AI, me, is having a conversation with another AI bot.
It's just crazy, but so good. Now, you used the word prompt before. We're going to explain some of the basics about AI in a minute. But before that, what got you interested in this?
Honestly, it started as a way to improve my copywriting. So at times, I was juggling so much copy for different businesses and different projects. And I was constantly grinding my gears just to turn out content. And each project had to have its unique voice. And on top of that, I needed to keep SEO and all the technical stuff in mind. And I realized that I could put what I was writing into ChatGPT and have it analyze what I was actually doing. And it started from there. And then I realized, oh, I can actually train you to think exactly like me and to get everything I need out of you. And I can actually have a clone of me happening. So that's where it all started. And then I toyed around with other fun things with AI and, rest is history.
And it's a history that's unfolding every week on this podcast and in the newsletter that we'll be talking about too. So I think a lot of teachers, I think I would be confident saying all teachers who are listening to this have heard of ChatGPT, but they probably don't know that what you were just saying, I've actually trained it to think like me, to be like me, to speak like me. And I think that's probably something that most people are unaware that they can do. So they'll bring up ChatGPT, they'll type in, give me 5 ideas for a recital theme. But there is so much more that you can do with it. And that's what this whole podcast is about, right?
Yes, it's really exciting. And it does take time to train the AI. It's like when you're hiring a new assistant, they don't automatically know how your business runs or anything about your business. So you have to tell them and train them. It's the same with AI. So it does take some time to let it know what your business is about, how you speak, what your tone and your style is. But once you get that in there, it actually has a memory and it saves that. So then your prompts and your outputs, everything that gives you is so much better than just a generic response back.
Got it. Okay, so let's cover some relatively basic questions, but this may be new to lots of people. So is there one AI or many?
Well, there's definitely many. So most of you have used AI and you probably just don't know it. So like Netflix, if you ever watch a show and then something pops up and says, you may like this, that's AI working in the background. But for us, we want to think of AI as different applications. So for music teachers, the conversational apps that you're going to look for is ChatGPT or Claude, or there's also Bard. There's a lot of different apps out there that you could use.
Okay, and by apps, we mean a bit of software, a place on the web where you go, grab an account, and they're all free pretty much, I think. Yep. And that's where you go to talk to the AI and get it to do things for you.
Exactly.
Yep. So which one's the best, in your opinion, at least for music teachers getting started?
I love ChatGPT. It's where I started. And so that's what I really love. and it's really a conversational assistant for me. So if you're wanting to have conversations and everything, that's where you should start. If you're looking for more technical and analysis type conversations, you'll want to go with Claude.
Claude, Claude.
You got it.
Okay. I've never heard of it. There you go. Teaching me stuff too. But I think we can pretty confidently say, let's get ChatGPT working for us. That's going to be our biggest time saver. And that's what you talk most about, right?
Yes.
Got it. Cool. So how and where do teachers go to use this?
So you can access it just on the web. So you can type in chat.openai.com for ChatGPT. And you can look up Claude as well. And you could use it on the web, or you could download the apps. So you could do it on your phone.
Yeah, that's right. They both have apps as well. And I think the app one, you can talk to it.
Yes. You can even do videos now. It's the coolest thing.
What, you can record? What's the advantage of a video over an audio?
Let me tell you, I used this the other day. I set it up and it saw that I was sitting in front of the piano. And it asked me what I was doing, and I asked it to teach me a song that I had pulled up.
Oh, what? How did that go?
It was pretty cool, actually. It saw what I was learning, and it gave me a bunch of info and context about the piece, which I thought was really cool. And now it can't just tell me what notes I'm playing, but as we advance with the technology, one day it'll get there. So that was really cool. You could also put the ingredients for coffee in front of you and show the video to all of your ingredients and tell it to tell you how to make a coffee. And it'll tell you how much to pour in there. So there's a lot of possibilities with it.
I've definitely, just on the kitchen side of things, I've definitely used it for, okay, I've got this, and this, and I want to use this up in the pantry. What can I make? Give me 3 recipes, and it can do it. I must say I made 1 or 2 of them, and they weren't amazing. But again, I probably haven't trained it to know what I like. So there you go. Okay, so we go to chat.openai.com, or you could just search Google for ChatGPT. You'll find it. Great. And you'll need an account, correct?
You'll need an account. They are free. So create a free account. Now, there are paid versions. So the ones I use are paid versions. For ChatGPT, it's about $20 a month, but it unlocks a ton of features and basically unlimited prompts that you can give it. I believe on the free account, you only can tell it 3 things per day.
Okay, yeah. And the other thing that the paid one gives you, as far as I understand, is apps within the software that can kind of, for example, for developers, it can write code, which it can't, or things like that, or draw a picture for you and things like that, right?
Exactly.
Got it.
So you get enhanced features once you get the premium accounts.
Okay, cool. But we don't need to worry about that. Teachers, just start with a free account. That's what I've actually got myself, so totally fine. All right. What is a prompt?
So a prompt is basically everything that you are telling the AI. So you could say something very generic like, give me 5 ideas for recital themes. And that's fine and it's dandy, but it will give you a pretty generic response back. But you can get very specific, saying, I need you to act as a piano teacher with 20 years experience, and I want you to give me recital themes for, and then put in what type of student you're teaching. Are you teaching 10 to 12-year-olds? Are you teaching high school students? And then it'll give a much more in-depth response back.
Fantastic. All right, so that's prompt. And I know there's now roles have emerged called prompt engineers, people that specialize in this. I think you're a bit of a prompt engineer.
A little bit. I do enjoy it way too much.
But it must be quite satisfying to give it a prompt. And of course, once the answer comes back, you can then ask it to refine that. And it must be quite satisfying to get the result you actually want. So you could get that response. It may say, okay, here are your 5 recital ideas. You could say, look, well, what would you know better than me? You could say, what would you say perhaps?
Well, sometimes it gives me an answer that I absolutely hate. And I'm like, no. We needed to start this again. And then I reword what I'm saying because maybe I just didn't tell it correctly. So if it gives me something back that I really did like, maybe it says something about movie themes. We'll do a movie theme recital. Then I'll say, okay, I have these type of students. Give me different movie ideas that they would like, or different pieces from movies that they would like. And then it would spit out music for me.
Got it. That makes sense. And we might have covered this a little bit, but so let's say a teacher puts in a prompt and it doesn't give me a very good response, or it's kind of okay and it sounds a bit generic. What is the point, therefore, of using it?
Well, it's like having a conversation. It's just like what we're doing now. The better conversations that you have, the better results that you're going to get. So if you don't like what it's given you, ask it in a different way or brainstorm a little bit more with it. And you'll eventually get some really cool ideas out of it.
Fantastic. All right. So I think that's a lot of the basics covered, which is great. And ultimately, you'll only get an idea of how this works if you start using it. So I really encourage people to just try it. You're not going to break anything and it doesn't cost anything. So set aside even half an hour, 5 minutes even, just to try one prompt and see how friendly the system is. So what are some of the fundamental shifts that you feel AI will create for instrumental and voice music teaching?
Well, I think where we're headed is we're going to get more exciting tools to use with AI. As teachers, we may only see our students for 30 or 60 minutes per week. And that's just such a little time to spend with each student to do everything we want to do, from improv to ear training to technique, just all the things. And I really think we're going to start getting technology available so it'll help them outside of our lessons. And it'll be able to tell our students, no, you're not playing that correctly, or it'll help them with ear training. And it'll really hone in on what they're doing well and what they need to work on. But all that is to come. For teachers, I really think it's going to help them save time and honestly wear all the hats as a studio owner, because not everybody has gone to school for marketing or management or all the things that we do. So if there's a spot in your business that you don't feel comfortable with, AI can be the expert in your business without having to try to figure out how you're going to afford to hire a social media manager.
So it's about enhancing what you do, streamlining, not replacing. I think one of the concerns that teachers may have, even if it's just kind of subconscious in the back of their mind, is, and you mentioned before, you asked it to teach you something at the piano, that we're going to be replaced at some stage.
I don't think we're going to be replaced. Nothing can replace humans. It can't replace our creativity, but I think it can definitely enhance our creativity. In fact, I think it brought back a lot of my creativity.
Interesting. And I've just realized I'm working in Google Docs at the moment, and on the right-hand side, Gemini. There's Google's AI, which I'm sure everybody has now seen in search results. And I think this is really interesting because now a lot of businesses were working on SEO, search engine optimization, i.e. getting into the first rank of Google so that you could get people to come over to your website. I don't know how important that's going to be in the future now that, and I've been using Google in the last week, and all I look at is the Gemini result if I'm asking it a question. So this is going to impact website traffic too, isn't it?
It really is. But the nice thing is AI can be there to help us figure it out and figure out how our websites need to change to match that.
So what are the most common ways you use AI in your studio?
I think it's mostly a lot of the behind the scenes work. So emailing parents or admin stuff. A lot of mine's copywriting. Am I writing copy for websites? Because I do run multiple websites. So is it writing copy for that or blogs or what have you?
All right. So for people listening, I'm hoping you're getting excited because I'm excited by this, the potential for this to save you time. I love helping teachers save time and money. And this is one of those ways. So we've now created a new podcast, which we've talked about, but also a newsletter. So can you tell us how these two work together?
That's a really great question. So the TopMusic AI podcast and newsletter are like two sides of the same coin. The podcast dives into the big picture ideas and practical applications of AI in music teaching. And each episode starts with that AI segment. Then I take over for the real talk. and give my personal perspective and advice. But the newsletter, on the other hand, it's where I go deeper into the details and examples of AI. It's packed with actionable tips and AI prompts and examples you can use right away for your teaching or your business.
I was just looking at your most recent newsletter, and you gave there was this acronym of how to formulate prompts. You shared your actual prompt, and then you actually shared the output that you got, and then what you did with that and what you thought about it. So you can actually see this in action in these newsletters. So the newsletter is by email too, right? We're not talking about a printed thing.
Correct.
Yep.
It's not a printed thing, so it'll be delivered to your email every Monday.
Great. So what do you think teachers will get from listening and reading?
I'm hoping that teachers are going to get fresh ideas and inspiration and maybe even some aha moments that we all know and love. And I'm really hoping that it can inspire teachers to make their lives easier. It's all about seeing what's possible and just sparking new ideas.
Fantastic. Now, the other thing I know that you've already started doing is responding to feedback, because I was reading that in our edition number 3. So you've been getting feedback from teachers. What kind of changes have you already been making? Because I think this is a great example of what we always try and do at Top Music, which is listen to what you guys want and what you need, and then try and fulfill that need even better than we are at the moment. So what kind of changes have you been making since we launched in January?
I think I've been trying to make it more approachable and less overwhelming, because at first I really wanted to give you everything that I could, and I wanted to pack so much value into the newsletter. But after we sent a few out, we realized that for AI newbies, it just may feel overwhelming, and you may need to break it down a little bit more. So that's what we did. And that's why in the latest issue, we talked about how to formulate the prompt, the 3 different sections of the prompt. So that way you could take that away and create endless amounts of prompts on your own.
Yeah. And it's one thing, go and try it out. Test it. Next week, here's another thing. Go and try that out. So really actionable and relevant to teachers at all stages and of all skills with AI as well. So even if you have been using it a fair bit, I mean, you will learn from Tara. There is no doubt. She is a guru of this thing. So even if you think you're pretty good at your prompts, I reckon you will learn a thing or two from Tara in the newsletter. So where should listeners go to find these new releases?
So you can stream your podcast anywhere you stream your podcast. You can also go to the website, topmusic.co, and check out all of our podcasts, because we have 4 of them now. Can you believe it? But it's also on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Amazon Music. It's everywhere. And the newsletter, just head on over to the website, and we can definitely put the link in the show notes for all of you.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, I cannot wait to see how this is going to impact teachers all around the world. So thank you so much for creating these new AI resources. Thanks for coming up with the idea. I'm really excited about how passionate you are. And thanks for being such an amazing member of our Top Music team for 4 years. That's incredible.
Thanks, Tim. I enjoy all of it.
Thanks, Tara. We'll catch up soon.
Thanks, Tim.
I really hope you do check out the AI podcast. It's completely free, and the episodes are nice and short, generally 15 minutes or so. So really actionable, really useful, short, sharp. Here's an idea that you can use both for your business and also for your teaching. And remember to go and download our Top Music newsletter. It's full of the actionable steps that you need to put into the ChatGPT interface in order to be able to use this in your studio. Now, of course, you may be able to work out these prompts and things yourself, but let us save you the time. Just download the newsletter. You've got the prompts there. You can use it straight away. You can see the results we get from the prompts. You can see how we then improve and tweak it and teach the AI how to give us better responses. So make sure you go and check that out. The link to that is on our show notes and on our homepage as well. You'll be able to find that really, really easily. And also over at our podcast homepage. So if you're unsure about all our podcasts, where to get them, how they work, topmusic.co/podcast is where you can go for the information about all of our now 4 podcasts, which is super cool. All right, I did promise you that I'd mention a few of the things that we've got coming up. Now, If you didn't already hear about it or see it, in January we launched an incredible course all about how to hire unicorn teachers for your studio. So this is going to be really relevant for any teacher that is considering or has started hiring teachers. It can be a real minefield finding a good teacher for your studio. So we have put together an incredible course that details exactly everything you need to know from start to finish, what to say in interviews, what questions to ask, how to find the people in the first place, what kind of things to give them, what tests should they do. All of these are so important. So that's a course that we've already launched inside Top Music Pro. We've also got this month our Canva course coming out, and this has been a huge request from teachers all over the world and for a number of years actually. Can you do a course on Canva? So we've got one of our incredible members, Sue, who's created it. She uses this all the time. She's created a phenomenal course, both for beginners, and also we've got 4 advanced modules as well. So if you are using Canva already and think you're pretty good at it, wait till you see some of the things that you can do. We've also included an AI module in that course. And as I mentioned at the start too, we are building a complete guide to ChatGPT for music teachers. That's a course we're going to be releasing a bit later this year. It's going to be created predominantly by Tara, who you met today, and a number of contributions from other teachers and our team members. And this will literally be step by step an incredible guide to how you can get the most out of this software, which is, as we said today, pretty much free, and unless you want to get really serious, and such an incredible time saver. So I really hope you stay tuned for that. We've got lots of other things happening, of course, inside our Top Music Pro membership and also our guitar membership. And we look forward to sharing more of those resources as they come out during the year. But until then, thank you so much for joining me and Tara for today's episode. Make sure you go and listen to the new podcast. Go and subscribe to it wherever you're listening to this show. And next week on the podcast, we're going to be continuing Tara's course. This one's Module 5 is the Assess, Plan and Execute course. Planning your year ahead with Tara Wright, continuing on from a couple of weeks ago when we had this little 2-week break. I couldn't wait to tell you about this podcast though. So I hope you don't mind me interrupting. Back to Tara from next week, and I hope you enjoy. Speak to you all really, really soon. How do you keep up to date with all the latest trends and research into music education? How do you connect with other teachers around the world and make sure your teaching stays fresh and relevant for students of all ages and stages, both now and into the future? I created our Top Music Pro membership to be the one-stop shop for music teaching resources, training, support and community, and I'd love for you to come and join us inside. With over 40 comprehensive training courses, hundreds of teaching demonstrations and lesson plans, free monthly sheet music, discounts, and all the business and pedagogy support you could ever need, Top Music Pro is the community you've been looking for. If you're ready to level up your learning from the podcast and join thousands of other teachers in our global network, head over to topmusicpro.com today. If you enjoy this show and want to hear more of our work, be sure to subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening today. For links and resources mentioned in this episode, visit us at topmusic.co/podcast or check out the show notes. I'm Tim Topham. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy your week ahead, and I'll catch you next time.